Hey guys, Chris the Bye Guy here. I'm going to talk about the Benchmade Model 42. And I did say this is definitely a grail knife for me. And I'm so glad that I have it. And if it'll focus, yeah, you can see it. How does it flip? How do I like it? This is my review of the Benchmade Model 42. So, I tried it with and without the latch. I like the way it flips better without the latch, but I like the functionality of the latch more than flipping it without the latch. So, it's, I prefer to keep the latch on. Sam, I swear, it is not a video of mine if there is not an animal harassing me throughout the entirety of the video. Oh my gosh, I'll let you inside. Okay, you're gonna run away. How fantastic. Oh, there's wasps flying around. That's fun. So how does it stack up compared to my other two favorite flippers? Stop. So compared to the 51, I gotta deal with this cat. Sam. What, Sam? What? 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 Let me take you inside. Let me take you inside. All right. Go inside. All right. Back to business. So Becky over there stays quiet. So, where was I? Back to the 51 and the 42 comparison. So the 51 is a little more equally balanced between the two handles. That is something I like about the 51. Why am I filming in? Okay, that makes it so much easier. The 51 is a lot easier to flip in some regards because the handles are equal weight for the most part. They're not incredibly off. The 42 is more imbalanced between the handles than I thought it would be, but by no means does it make it unflippable. It's just some moves that you would do with the safe handle are not going to flip the same with the bite handle. And things like aerials, it changes the trajectory a little bit. You're probably going to notice I'm not flipping this thing too dramatically right now because I usually don't flip it unless I'm over something that will not damage it. Not that the dirt will really damage it. I just don't want to drop it. And also, I'm not super used to the balance of this knife yet. I've had it for a little while. I still mess up a little bit with it. This knife was the first knife I've gotten that's given me a few cuts. Not because it's really sharp or anything. I mean, it's moderate. It's got the same edge that it had on it whenever it was probably produced back in the early 2000s. But just getting used to the balance tendencies. But as far as fulfilling what I wanted out of it, it's exactly that. And I'm so happy I got a 42 because it flips how I would think it would flip, and I like the way that it flips. I like the tap. I like the characteristics. It's less about the quality of the flipping I get from the knife, but more of the experience I get from flipping it. And it's not the best flipper I own, and that's perfectly fine. I have a lot of fun flipping this thing, and it is the best knife to me to flip. Can I not be harassed by the sounds of an animal just making a video? I think it's too complicated to ask for that, for given my luck and just my existence as a whole. Get your YouTube channel deleted for something completely ridiculous. Every time you make a video, something completely ridiculous has to disturb it. Well, I know a lot of you watch my videos for the actual educational content, but I know a lot of you watch it for stuff like this, stuff that just adds to the humor of it. So back to my Alpha Beast. I don't know if I started on that or not. We're going to go with it. I'd say my Alpha Beast is probably the best flipper I own. It's definitely the most well-balanced. I mean, what do you really expect? A knife that's designed by flippers for flippers is probably going to flip the best to a flipper. Oh my goodness. I cannot flip behind a camera anymore. It's been too long. I apologize for the lack of content. School is a lot. And I do say, as a music education major, that is essentially a double major, but you get screwed credit hours wise and you only pay for one. So it's not the best, but I'm happy right now. I have a job in Pennsylvania I'm beginning. I'm getting a new vehicle to be able to bring what I need up there. Life is stressful, but it's all right. How did I get so off topic from the 42? So the Alpha Beast flips better in regards to overall balance and performance because of the actual balance of it. I don't know why I'm having such a brain aneurysm right now. I've flipped all three versions of this knife. I had the original blade that came with this knife. I think it's called the Scimitar blade. I might be completely wrong. I don't remember. I've had the alt blade, and I've had the Bowie blade, which is what I have now. With all of those variants, they're roughly similar. Some people are gonna have preferences. I just prefer a crown spine. If I have to be honest, I like the original blade design that came with this knife when I got it. I think it's a Scimitar blade is what it's called. But that one had the best balance because it had a majority of the blade's weight near the end, and it helped carry better. And these other the alt blade made it more neutral in my opinion, and this variant is kind of neutral as well, but it's not as neutral. It's more handle heavy, really. But that being said, this is still the best flipping knife, the best flipping knife that I own. And besides just being a gift to me, I could never get rid of this Bally for that reason as well. It's just, I could sit here and flip this thing all day. And on top of that, this thing has eaten concrete for breakfast for the longest time. And it just doesn't fail. The only part that sucks on this knife are the hardware with poor tensile strength that they put on this knife. And I've yet to get 2 new screws. And I just don't take this thing apart because I don't have to. And I'm just really careful now when I do because I lost 2 screws. And if I ever lost another screw, I would just have to get another one or I'd run a piece of wire through there or something, find some kind of solution, just hold it together. Back to the 51. Again, I could probably never get rid of this thing just because it's a gift and it's such a limited knife to begin with. It's not like super special, super limited or anything, but it is the 1501. And it's just such a good knife in my opinion. It's such a good actual like cutting knife with the D2 steel with the relatively thin blade, and it's just a good carry knife. It has a pocket clip. It's my only actual Bally with a pocket clip, and I just love this thing. It's so much fun to flip around because it's so light. It's I've said way too many times. I'm sorry, but this thing is just great. In comparison to the 42, obviously this knife is lighter. This knife, is pretty neutral, but it does carry pretty well. People complain from the very start these things were not balanced well or too light or whatever, but that's just because people haven't gotten used to it. I started flipping on a very, very light trainer, and that trainer was made out of Legos, and it was a very odd shape. So when I got to this, it felt way heavier than I ever imagined it because people work up just how light this thing is. And it's not as light as you would think, given just how much people at least used to say was so light. With this knife being out of production, it's kind of a shame. Not this specific color variant, but just the knife as a whole. I get that they probably weren't selling a whole bunch of them, but makes me wish that they weren't out of production. Stupid spring lash design, we all know. It's not the worst idea ever, but it's not what people wanted, yada, yada, yada. And then back to the 42. For one, just listening. That sound is part of my childhood. Just hearing that on camera and watching YouTube videos that had that knife sound, and just the way this thing looked. The classic Weehawk blade, the classic traditional spring latch that has a spring in it and doesn't use the frame. It's a weird effect on the camera. Anyways, the way this thing looked, the way it sounded, the way this solid piece of titanium just imagined to feel in my hand looking through the camera. This knife was just meant to be for me, because everyone I watched getting into the knife community, knife zoid, cutlery lover, you name it, anyone, bite handle, rest in peace, all had a 42. And they were all so good at flipping, in my opinion, and they were so much more skilled and knowledgeable than me. It was like, I just couldn't imagine myself not owning one of these at least one day. Of course, I ended up going on to get a Chimera as my first knife, but that's because I didn't have probably around $400 at the time to get a new 42 or lightly used one. These days, the prices of 42s are so scuffed. And I'd say I got a good deal on this one, and this one's in great condition. Because I've seen people selling 42s for like $1,200 and such. It's just ridiculous. It's what it takes to get such a desired knife. And what helps these days is that not as many people who are flipping are super into like these older knives, and they just want a good knife that'll flip, and that's awesome, because it leaves these more classic knives. I say the 42 like it's classic, like it was like back in the 90s or whatever, or the 80s. I mean, I was born in 2003. I mean, you can't really get too classic. I mean, as you get older, this is going to become more of a classic knife. And it shares the classic design of a lot of Benchmade's early designs and Pacific Cutlery Co. and what they made knives look like. And those were mostly steel from what I know, and they were often pinned. But this is like the perfect breakaway point from when they started switching to more modern design knives. The 42 and the 4X line, as well as like the 31 and all that, those were all just such good transition knives between classic designs that looked really cool and had such a specific aesthetic to them and a specific sound, and actual quality knives, because the 42 is genuinely good quality, but a lot of those other knives just aren't made to handle being flipped and abused like knives are today. So that's why I say the 42 is probably a really good transition knife, because it has the elements of indestructibility to a sense, and it still looks just phenomenal. It's just a classic design. I'm going to put the 42 down because I like to baby it, and I'm not going to flip it too much more out here. I'm going to grab my Alpha Beast, but still keep talking about the 42. Apologies if there's wind noise. I haven't really been making many videos of knives because I've been at college, and, you know, the whole knife thing at any kind of school or anything is just absolutely horrible. It's not called for. It is a horrible disgrace to society to have a knife and any kind of property that is called a school. Anyways, the 42, I'll say it again. The 42 is not my best flipper. The one I'm holding right now is the Alpha Beast. And I'd say probably close second best flipper is my is my favorite belly. My Pro V2 BB Barfly. And then the Firefly, I like that one too, but the balance it's really good. It's just not in my preference like the Pro V2 is. If I had to pick one of those to keep, I'd probably pick the Pro V2. I love the Firefly, but it's not as tailored to my specific preferences. I do like the way the Firefly looks a lot better, though. The 42, if I was to give it a list as the best flipping knife I had, it'd probably be third or fourth on the list after the BB Bar Flies and the Alpha Beast. And then the 51 is under the 42. And then the Chimera is under all of those. But that's to be expected, at least for the Chimera. For the 42, I say best flipper in the sense of how it flips in either a competitive or purely efficiency standpoint. The 42, it is not the greatest flipper. It's just how it is. But the reason that people like me swear by them so much, and the reason people like me enjoy flipping them so much, is because they love them so much. I mean, I love to compare cars, and I love to compare cars to knives, because it's usually the best comparison that computes in people's heads these days. So that's what I was trying to avoid with the 42. When people ask me, how do you justify spending hundreds of dollars on a knife that you just flip around, I bring it down to the car level. If I was to say that my Bradley Chimera was a car, I'd say it was probably just a modern, like, Honda Accord. It just functions normally. It's a decent vehicle. It isn't the best in the world at doing everything, but it works, and it's gonna last. If I was gonna compare knives to cars with my Alpha Beast, I'd probably say it's like a freaking, I don't know, like a Toyota Supra or something. Just something that has a lot of capability, a lot of power. It has a lot of potential, and what you do with it is all up to you. And then you have like the 42, and those knives are almost like vintage cars. Like, I think of my 42 like a 66 Corvette. It's not the best driver in the world by any means, but people who have a taste for them pay a lot for them because they mean a lot to them, because they grew up around them, or they just always thought they were really cool and they always wanted one. It's whenever you justify spending that much on a knife, even if it's not the best one, it's down to what you enjoy and what makes you happy. Obviously, objects don't make people happy, yada, but whatever. What I'm saying is, I mean, even in the knife world, people be like, why would you spend like $730 on a Benchmade Model 42? And my reason is just because it's like the 66 Corvette of Balisongs. It's cool. It's just really just cool to imagine myself getting to use one or own one and get to have fun with it. And it's something that was so far-fetched so long ago because they were not available and I couldn't get one whenever I first wanted one. And it's all about influence and stuff like that and what you enjoy. But that's why I like the 42 so much. It is that 66 Corvette to me. Would I actually buy a 66 Corvette? No. But I think it's a good comparison. Oh my goodness, there's never a break I can get from just interruptions. Well, we can say hi to Becky. Hey, Becky. Hey, Becky. Yeah, you don't like me. Becky is my dad's goose. We had Wheezy. He was the white goose, but he had to get rid of him because Wheezy was way too loud and caused problems. Typical mean white goose. But yeah. Again, I apologize for the lack of uploads in the recent months. I try to upload whenever I can, but being in college, it's hard to even make a knife video because I don't have locations to even do it. But with my plans, I should be able to make videos in my vehicle wherever I want in the soon time and do it comfortably. So, fingers crossed, pray to God, hopefully that that plan works out, because there's a million reasons things could go wrong. There's a million reasons things could go right. Just hope I make the right decision. And yeah, I hope that I am just struggling today. My brain is so dead. The moment I go to make a video, it's just naturally how it is. I'm the least prepared. Even though I've thought about the process of what I'm going to do in the video, it doesn't matter how ready I am to make a video. It's just always a garbled mess. And, I mean, but part of that, I feel, from what I've been told, is what people like about my videos. They're just natural. They're organic. They're funny. Like when I just randomly get interrupted by random dogs and crap. Like, yes, very funny. He's trying to make a video, but this random dog keeps interrupting. Or the cat, or the goose. The goose has been good. Please don't jinx that. But, and the pig, thankfully the pig is not my problem anymore. That pig hated me so much. For some reason, I got tackled by that pig once. I was just outside. I was walking around, and that pig just charged at me one day and, like, ran over me like a, I don't know football terms. I guess a linebacker. I have no idea. Anyways, I just got absolutely just demolished by that pig. And I'm surprised it didn't try to eat me or something. That pig was mad. It's like, what did I do to you, pig? I've never done anything bad to you. It's like, where did you get this grudge from? But yeah, there will never, my parents are kind of crazy. They like weird animals. Not to say that a goose or a pig isn't a good pet at all. But, in the same sense that I'm cuckoo with knives, they're cuckoo with some other things. It's okay to be cuckoo. You just got to recognize it, and they do. So we're living in a good world right now, ignoring everything else going on. I kind of worry for the state of the world sometimes, and I'm not going to get political or anything. I never will on my channel. I've done a whole video about, well, it's not up anymore, so it's not like I can just refer people to it. Maybe I'll have to remake that one. Basically, I just believe that it's not a good idea to mix politics with your regular content, unless your regular content is politics. It's like, no one wants to hear me ramble about why I think certain political opinions are true, or why I feel like other people are stupid for believing in political opinions. No one wants to hear me talk about that. So when people talk about that, it's like, dude, you're just ruining your reputation with half of your viewer base. And it's like, no one wants to hear that. But yeah, I can't tell if my camera is blurry or not. But anyways, I'm not going to drop this Bally, so I'm going to go grab another one to drop for the end of the video. I don't know how I got in the habit of that. I think I just dropped the knife on accident near the end of each video I ended. It kind of became a purposeful thing. But anyways, thank you for watching my videos. I appreciate every one of you that's been around since the beginning, or each one of you that started watching now. Feel free to subscribe. I never ask, but if you feel like it, go ahead. I do have a Patreon, but obviously no requirements, anything. I don't know why I even felt the need to mention that, but people were asking me to start mentioning it, I think is wise. Yeah, people asked me to mention it, so. Anyways, I've also been trying to find my old videos, because I know I have them on file somewhere, but I just have to find them. I think it's on an old PC. And maybe I'll get to upload some of my oldest videos up again. And what's crazy is that my channel had like a few million views before it even got taken down. Unfortunately, we live in a world where channels get taken down for completely preposterous reasons. And yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.